Hello world! Today I've got for you a drugstore haul with a first impressions try on. Hey everybody, Shelly here, and today I've got a drugstore haul, but I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to actually do a try on with all of the products I picked up, and since this was sort of a drugstore honorarium look, I figured that all of the products I used should be from the drugstore. So this is a full face drugstore look with first impressions and some unexpected results and some craziness going on and some things that I loved and some things that I hated and some things that were just okay and some things that I'm going to have to try a few more times before I settle on my final opinion. And if they become favorites or fails, you will certainly see them in an upcoming video of favorites and fails. So I've got a few Wet n Wild products that were labeled as new. I've got a few new e.l.f. products, a few not so new products from these brands that I've just decided to try out. I got a new shade of one of my drugstore foundation favorites. I've got my new favorite drugstore waterproof mascara on tap here. So hang around if you would like to see how I got this look and what I think of the new e.l.f. and Wet n Wild and Milani and other drugstore products that I have picked up in today's haul. Let's do this. I apologize in advance if you see my cats. They always decide to run around and be crazy whenever I sit down to film, so that's that. I'm going to start out with the NYX Hydra Touch Primer. I wear primer every day under all of my foundations. I really like the NYX. I have really dry skin, and the NYX primer it's really refreshing, and it smells nice, and it feels nice, and I feel like it does help extend the wear of my makeup, and it helps kind of hydrate and smooth things out just a bit. Now, not all of these products that I'm going to use today are new, but they are all drugstore. I thought it might be fun to pull together a bunch of drugstore stuff and see what happens. So the next thing I'm going to try is a new product, and this is the e.l.f. Hydrating Under Eye Primer. Now, I had not heard of this. It comes in a package like so. It says it primes the under eye area to help prevent concealer from setting into fine lines and wearing off. Infused with vitamin C and E, shea, green tea, aloe, and ginkgo biloba to nourish and condition the skin. Sheer, silky smooth texture, reduces the appearance of fine lines, puffiness, and wrinkles. Using a brush or your finger, apply a small amount on clean skin and pat in. Now, my under eyes are just usually a mess. They get creasy and wrinkly and crepey, and anything that is going to... That just sounded like it had some really good ingredients. So, figured I'd try it out. Comes in a little pump, and... let's see here. There we go. So it's sort of a pinkish... sort of a cream. I'm just gonna dab some on my ring finger here. Probably have a little bit too much, but we'll just go all around here. It does seem to be slightly like a brightening kind of a gel. I'll take a little into my crazy dark circle corner here. It blended in very nice. It feels very smooth, and it feels substantial. It doesn't feel watery. I feel like it's probably doing some kind of filling in and moisturizing. I'm enjoying the texture. Doesn't really smell like anything. Settles in quickly. It dries up quickly, so I only feel sort of slightly tacky. Nothing bothersome. I'm just going to use the rest of what was on my finger here and sort of might as well go all out. This sounds like it's got good ingredients, and I have crow's feet starting to form and all kinds of misery. So I'm just kind of tapping this in here. Maybe it'll help my crow's feet stay at bay. One can dream. Next up, this is not a new product, but it is one that I've been trying to get my hands on forever from Wet n Wild. It's the Come Correct Celebrity Concealer, and this has been touted as a potential dupe for the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer. I got this in shade Fair. Do I still have the box? Yes. So it comes in this box. And the claims it makes: you better come correct if you want to make it in this game. Complete coverage concealer is the ideal formula for any imperfection. Comes in a silky smooth buildable formula that blends seamlessly to mask under eye circles, discoloration, and blemishes without creasing or fading. Designed to brighten and highlight your skin for an instant pick-me-up. So I've been trying to find this. I finally found it at a Walgreens in Richmond. I was down there all weekend for the state fair, and I'm very excited. So I got this in shade Fair, and it seems a little more watery than the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. I also have the IT Cosmetics, so I'm just gonna sort of tap some on here. And then I've got a damp beauty blender. It definitely highlights. Holy cow. Normally I do my foundation before I do my concealer, but I've been finding that I've been having an easier time blending out my foundation around my eyes if I do my concealer first. So I'm just gonna dab some more on here and then blend it out with my mini baby beauty blender. First impression, this feels a lot more watery and less thick than the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, but the IT Cosmetics I actually find to be a little too thick under my eye, so maybe that's a good thing. It also might just be that it was stored with the tip down. These Wet n Wild products have this nice flat base that you can, set them on your table or you're in your vanity and they'll stand up. But I find the problem with that is that all the oils in the product then go to the tip, and when you go to squeeze out more product, you end up getting a really oily bunch of product in your hand. I have the same problem with the Wet n Wild eyeshadow. Is that right side up? No. The eyeshadow primer, which I'm going to use right now. So I do not store it tip down. I store it tip up in my little vanity holder, and that way it doesn't get all oily at the bottom. So here's I probably should have grabbed my concealer brush because now I'm making a mess. Oh, I do really like the Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer. It feels a lot like a dupe to the Shadow Insurance, the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, but I feel like it has... I got some on my nose. I feel like it has a little bit better coverage, and lately I've been feeling that my eyes have been very veiny, and I need some color coverage on my poor eyelids here, so it's working for me. I feel like I'm in backwards land right now. Next thing I picked up, this is not new, but it is drugstore. It is the Revlon Color Stay Makeup Normal to Dry Skin. Now, I already have another color of this. I've got the number 200, which I believe is called Nude, and that formula did not have SPF in it. So this was actually labeled as new, so maybe it is a new product or a reformulation of an old product, because this one actually has SPF 20, and they also have a new shade called Porcelain, which looks to be a little bit lighter than this. I thought when I was holding it that it looked like it was probably a little bit too light, so I went with 110 Ivory. Porcelain was number 130, but in the display it was to the left of this shade, and in, plain store lighting, the Porcelain did look lighter than this, so the numbers didn't seem to be going in order, but color-wise it did look lighter, so I went with the second lightest shade. In this case, the Nude 200 is like the 4th or 5th lightest shade, which is a shock that I could go so dark, but this line has a lot of different shades, so it very well could be. That worked for me in the summer, but it's starting to be a little bit too dark for me. So now that I am becoming a pasty pirate again, I figured I would try a lighter shade since I do like this foundation for a drugstore foundation. I'm just gonna pump out a couple pumps, and I have a damp pseudo knockoff beauty blender from Ulta that I will use. So let's see here. I usually do 2 pumps. And oh, I'm just gonna dab right in. Yes, better color. Gosh, could it even be a little too light still? Well, we'll find out. Need a little bit more. One more pump. I usually love this beauty blender fake, but today it's really making strange marks in my foundation. Maybe this foundation doesn't like the beauty blender. The foundation has a different scent than it used to. It's not much of a scent, but it's kind of, sort of, it's light and fresh smelling, kind of. Next up, this is another product that is new to me from e.l.f. And it is the HD Under Eye Setting Powder. So here's the box it came in. And this stuff, it's this tiny little jar, and it came with this ridiculous brush. Like, really? Really? But anyway, let's crack this guy open. Oh, it's got like a, this could be messy. Pull to open. Pull what? So be careful when you open this, because there is a plastic little sifter top, and if you pull the sticker too hard, the sifter top comes off and we'll get powder everywhere. So I'm just gonna sift a little bit into the cap. And barely any sifted out. So, okay. Alright, should I try this ridiculous little brush? Alright, here it goes. No. Okay, I'm going to use my e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush, because that is the brush that I like to use for setting my under eye. I'm just going to get a little of this powder. And do some setting. This little sifter on top is kind of useless. I'm going to pull that back off. So this is marketed as like a sheer sort of setting powder. Let's read you some stuff. Light diffusing powder helps camouflage fine lines, dark circles, and imperfections. Silky powder adds a velvety finish to perfect blah blah blah. Vitamin C and K infused. And yeah. It's a little more chunky than something I would want. Chunky's not the right word. Maybe chalky than something I would typically use to set my under eye. I usually use the number 7, Boots number 7 loose powder, and that is really kind of a straight up dupe for the Laura Mercier translucent powder. So I don't know what I think about this. I think it is exaggerating the texture under my eyes, and it settled into the lines under this eye. So let's buff that out. Not sure about this. Next up, another product I actually own a darker shade of. I own the shade one darker than this. This is the Maybelline Better Skin Superstay Better Skin Transforming Powder. I picked this up. It's a pressed powder that's got salicylic acid in it, which is a good skincare ingredient. It comes with a useless little sponge that you might as well just toss, and then the product itself. Actually today, when I went to work, I wore this alone. This is my second time doing my makeup today. I actually wore this powder in the darker shade alone with no liquid foundation underneath, and really liked how it wore throughout the day. So I'm just going to use this to lightly set what I've got going on here. Even this one is just a little dark, but I feel like it has good ingredients and I like how it looks. Next up, I picked up another e.l.f. blush brush, which has some cat hair on it because my cat knocked it off onto the floor before I started filming this. And I'm just going to use the Wet n Wild Color Ombre in a purple haze. I'm going to use kind of the pink side. I've definitely been preferring to go light on the blush. I'm not a huge blush fan. For the eyes, this is not a new palette, but it is the first time I'm using it on myself. It is the Milani Everyday Eyes Smoky Essentials palette. And I'm going to use part of that, and then I'm going to use partly the Maybelline Color Tattoo Eye Chrome. And this is a purple one. What is the color? Sharp purple. So I'm just going to play around with these and see what happens. I'm going to start out with a Wet n Wild large shadow brush and use this sort of creamy color as a base. I like to put down a flesh-colored base just about every time I put eyeshadow on because I feel like it sort of sets the eyeshadow primer and makes it a lot easier for the other shadows to sort of glide over everything. It might be a placebo effect, I don't know. I just like doing it. It makes me feel better. Next up, another Wet n Wild brush. I think this was called a crease blending brush, but it's the one that really drives me nuts because it's like tapered the wrong way, or maybe it was called a tapered blending brush. I wish it was tapered inward because it's so super wide and big and fluffy that I feel like it doesn't give you very precise control, but it is really good for putting down a really diffused sort of transition color. So I'm going to use this second color in the Milani palette, the little brownish shade here as my transition. These kick up a bit of powder, so make sure you tap off the excess. See how huge it is in relation to the size of my crease? I have really deep creases and I still feel like this brush is ginormous. So you can't really do any kind of precise placement of color with it, but if you're just going for a diffused sort of transition color, it is a really nice soft brush. And of course it's Wet n Wild, so they're vegan and cruelty free and all that good stuff. Next up, new purchase was this e.l.f. contour brush, and it's a really dense, sort of firm shadow brush. It reminds me a bit of the Makeup Geek Outer V brush, except with just a little bit less of the sort of curved, tapered tip to the top, but they're both equally dense. The e.l.f. brush is a little bit thicker and a little less tapered to a point, but I feel like it's going to be a nice brush also for that outer V when you're not going quite for a V, but a little more fill on that like outer third. So I thought it would be an interesting thing to pick up and try. I'm going to put this Maybelline Color Tattoo on that outer third. Now I haven't looked to see what kind of applicator this comes with. Okay. So it's like a doe foot sort of applicator going on here. I think I'm still going to use a brush to sort of sort things out. So I'm just going to wiggle in here and make sure I got some color. Scrape the excess off on the side, and well, I'm a little nervous about this. I don't know what's about to happen. Let's try. I still feel like I'm going to need a brush to lay this down where I want it. Wow, this is dark and chromy. Let's see how it blends. Oh my. I'm a little nervous now. Well, you can't really blend it like you would a traditional shadow because it sort of wipes away, but then how do you soften the edges? I don't know. Well, I've got mapped out a little bit of a V. Alright, we're just gonna go with this. Maybe when it dries down I can blend over it? Tapping seems more effective than rubbing blending. So, yeah. I was expecting a little more shine. I mean, it's called chrome, and it doesn't seem super shiny, but all right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna blend some more shadows in here, and then I think I'm gonna go over it with a final layer and see if I can get that to chrome it up and dry it down. Next, I'm gonna take this Real Technique small shadow brush and go in with this silvery shade from the Milani palette. And I'm gonna use this on my inner and center lid. And then hopefully I can get some of this darker gray to sort of transition into this purple. That's what we're gonna shoot for here. This is a really nice silver. It's got a sort of a blue cool cast without being obnoxious about the blue. I'm gonna take on the same brush a little of this middle gray, sort of a little bit darker. Maybe I can sort of get this to transition a little bit. I expected the color tattoo to be more purple. It's definitely darker than I expected. Now I'm gonna go back with the color tattoo and see if we can't get this to look a little more like I thought it would. See, and then if you smudge the wrong part of it, it just goes yeesh. I can get the color to build up, which is nice, but it's really not blendable. Alright, I'm going to use my Makeup Geek Outer V with the black shade in this Milani palette and see if we can kind of fix the fact that I can't blend out these edges. So maybe I can blend them out with some black shadow. Maybe I can blend it out. I feel like these color tattoos have to just serve as a base more than anything else because it's really impossible to get them to blend. So if you're running color over them, so basically I've just gone in with the blues here, the darker blues, the blue grays, and blended them over that purple color tattoo. And that's the only, as close as I'm getting to being able to blend it. Take some of that cream color and lighten up at the brow because we got a little crazy with our transition here. Now this is just a clean Sigma E40 blending brush, and I'm just gonna do my best to soften these edges. Another new product, this is Wet n Wild. Lifts brows, brightens, and shapes. So this thing is called the Ultimate Brow Highlighter. Liven your eyes. It looks like it's sort of a pinkish pencil. It's called Highlight of My Life is this shade. Yikes. So it's just like a sort of pinkish flesh colored pencil. Oh my. And they just show the person drawing it under their brow bone. This is definitely going to need some blending. I'm happy to report that even with pale skin, it seems to be workable. I mean, do I want to tap it out? Do I want to use my finger? I don't know what I want to do. The picture looked like they were carving out their brows with it, but let's see here. Well, it's highlighting for sure. It's sort of a creamy consistency. For liner on my upper lash line, I've got my favorite Physicians Formula Eye Booster 3-in-1 serum, liner, whatever they call it. 2-in-1 lash boosting eyeliner and serum. Ultra black. This is what I would call a perfect dupe for Kat Von D in Trooper. Her black tattoo liner. So the struggle is real. I'm going to show you guys the struggle and everything. Here you go. I've got crepey eyes, so it's really hard for me to get a smooth line. That's why I prefer brush tips. The felt tip liners tend to lay down too much product too fast, then it seeps into the crepiness in the eyelids, and then you get like tire treads in your eyeliner, and it's really frustrating. So all you girls that are getting crepey eyelids and still insist on going nuts with the liner like I do, check out a brush tip if you haven't yet. Now, I'm not going to go crazy with a wing. I have hooded lids. If I don't use a stencil, I have a really hard time getting a really nice wing, so I just do generic wings, which aren't really wings at all. This side is always harder. I'm right-handed, so this one I have to like cross across my body. See, and then you just can't see this little part right here. Oh, the struggle is real. See, I already made it too thick on the inside on this side. Eh. and then your eyes dry out. To tightline, I've got the NYX gel liner pencil in Pitch Black. This is one of those twist-uppy kind. Now I do find that tightlining can actually hide some winged liner sins when it comes to sort of trying to balance them out, like inner corner, for example. God, I love a tight line. For mascara, I'm going to use my new favorite waterproof. This is the Feline Noir. L'Oreal, that's what it is. L'Oreal Voluminous Feline Noir. I like the waterproof one. I'm probably going to go back and get the non-waterproof one. I've been using this for a couple weeks now, and I really like it. I am going to apply false lashes today, so I don't need to be too careful here. But I do want a little bit on here, just so my lashes blend in with the false ones a little better. For brows, I picked up a new product from Wet n Wild, the Ultimate Brow Mascara, and this is in their brunette shade. And I'm not going to do anything fancy to my brows, but brush them up now. Ooh, I like this brush. I really like when the brushes are nice and sort of small like this. So let's see what we got. They didn't have anything darker than brunette, at least not at my CVS. So I'm kind of, I mean, my hair is dark brown naturally, but it's borderline black. So we'll see if this is too light. I really like the, it's feathering nicely. It's a little brown, so I feel like it's warming up my brows just a little bit. Normally I would fill in with some powder as well. I have some sparse areas in the front of my brows, but I'm just gonna rely on this product today. I really like this brush. For lashes, I've got the e.l.f. Dramatic Lash Kit, and I have never tried e.l.f. lashes before. It comes with a little tube of eyelash glue, which I don't have any latex allergies or anything, so I haven't looked at the ingredients on here. Ooh, I can feel my brows drying. Yikes. I haven't looked at any of the ingredients, so I don't know if they do have latex or not. My guess is at this price, they probably do have latex in the glue. Let's see if I can get these lashes off of the little container. These are really flimsy. I'm used to wearing Ardell Wispies, and let's see, these might even be too big for me. Wow, these are super flimsy. Well, let's try them. They're a little too long, but I don't have scissors nearby. These are so flimsy. These are horrific. You know what these remind me of? Like Halloween Elvira lashes. Okay, these are not so good. Can I even leave these on? I don't think I can. Do you see this? All right, I'm gonna go with it. No, I'm not. Okay, I went with one of my old standbys, the Ardell Naturals. These are the 110s. Last but not least, I picked up 2 of the liquid lipsticks from Wet n Wild, the Megalast liquid lipsticks. One of the makeup channels that I follow on Facebook had mentioned, someone mentioned that they loved these liquid lipsticks, that these were their favorites. I think I'm gonna go with this sort of mauve-y one. This is called Iris like the flower. Iris, I was rich. Iris, I was rich. Their names, let me tell you. Let me just swatch both of these just to show you what they look like and see what they look like myself. So there's the Iris, I was rich. And this other one is called Pocket Full of Roses. At least I can say that 10 times fast. It's a more pinky shade. Ooh, they're both pretty. So here we go. The Iris, I was rich, and the Pocket Full of Roses. I think I'm gonna go with Iris. I can't say it. I can't. Very sticky. Let's see how it settles and dries down. It's got a little bit of a shimmer to it, this one, where the pink one does not look like it's got shimmer. I really like the color. Super sticky. Let me make sure I've got a good even coat. I feel like this is going to accentuate texture on the lips. There you go, the finished look. So of these new products, I think the Revlon Color Stay makeup is a good color. I'm glad I did not go any lighter than I did. I like the brushes that I picked up. This e.l.f. Under Eye setting powder is a big question mark. I will try it again, but I feel like it has really accentuated the lines underneath my eyes. That Hydrating Under Eye primer was supposed to... Where did it go? I can't find it. But that under eye primer was supposed to sort of prevent concealer from fading into lines. Now it's not settling into lines. It's just that the lines they look dry and accentuated. So maybe the primer's not at fault, but the setting powder might be. The Come Correct concealer, I have a feeling that that's contributing to the accentuation of my under eye lines. I'll still try to give it another day in court. The color's good. It's a nice fair shade, but I'm afraid that it is partly contributing to that problem. The Maybelline Color Tattoo, I think it's best as an eyeshadow base. I don't think it's really going to work out as color on its own. You can't blend the edges. I might have to go look up some videos and see what I'm doing wrong, but I really couldn't get it to blend. So maybe it's just meant to be a base? I'm not sure. The Wet n Wild Brow Mascara, this Ultimate Brow, love it. Definitely going to use that. The Wet n Wild Highlighter, the Underbrow Highlighter, I think I like it. Cats running around. The e.l.f. Dramatic Lashes, total fail. These are going straight in the garbage can. The Wet n Wild Megalast Liquid Lipstick. It's very sticky and dry. I like how it looks, except the accentuation of texture. I might have to wear it for a while to see what my true feeling is. Oh, found the under eye primer. There it is. I might need to wear that for a little while to see what I really think about it in terms of this Wet n Wild Megalast liquid lipstick, the Maybelline Better Skin powder. I do like. I think it's still a little bit dark for me. I would like it to go one shade lighter, and it doesn't. This is the lightest shade they've got. But with the salicylic acid, I feel like it's good ingredients, and it doesn't settle into fine lines or look dry or cakey, so I do like that. So I think this is a keeper. And I think that's all the new stuff that I used. Thanks for coming by and geeking out over makeup with me. If you'd like to see some more of these first impression try-ons, feel free to give me a thumbs up down below and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys stopping by and spending some of your day with me. Take care of each other. Have a good one. Bye-bye.